there, this is Straight Talk, no sugar added. I am your host, Neena Perez, and we are here to discuss life topics to challenge and transform your thinking. Let's do this. Today I have Brian Penso here, and I smile because this guy is like a no sugar coater, which you know I love, right? So he started many companies since he was about 15 years old, and after many failures of losing everything, he lived in like dirty old warehouses with no heat, no hot water for many years with his trusty but worthy sidekick, Abby, a dog that he had rescued along the way. But with dedication and grit, and pure desire not to fail, he created one of the largest companies in his industry with clients spanning from coast to coast. And that's why I wanted Brian here. I have heard him speak at Clubhouse a few times, and I'm like, this guy is like the real deal. So I really like to speak to people who are authentic, who like to just say it how it is. And it, but you're also not just talking to talk, Brian. I think one of the things I really like about you the most is that you are dropping gems and nuggets along the way. So it's not like you're just, bashing people for where they are. You're actually saying, look, it's either shit or get off the pot here. You know what I'm saying? And you're just straight talk about it. So first of all, thank you for being here on Straight Talk. And the first thing I always like to do is have my guests just kind of introduce himself a little more than what I gave in the intro there. So just tell us a little bit about you, Brian.
Well, I appreciate you having me here. I'm just a good old country boy. I was born and raised in Ohio. And out in the hill country, I was working at a very young age. I took care of a lot of horses, cattle, mending fence, that sort of thing. And, and a lot of times out in the country, you get bored, and took a lot of wrong turns, a lot of drinking, a lot of drugs, getting into trouble. And finally, when I had enough of that, I said, you know what, I've got to get out of here while I'm still above ground. And I left. I packed up everything I had. I had $250 in my pocket, an old beat up pickup truck, a couple garbage sacks full of clothes and my fishing equipment. And I headed southwest, and I ended up in Texas, a big city, where I saw more people in one day than I did where I come from in an entire year.
Wow.
Yes, it was a shock, to say the least.
I bet it was.
Yep, it was. And I came down here and I spent a lot of time with my brother, and he was established here. And I started hanging around a bunch of different people, different type thinking, elevated thinking. And that's kind of where I got that frying pan between my eyeballs, thinking these people think differently. They have what it is that I want, not what I have. So maybe I need to start paying a little bit closer attention to them. And that's when my whole journey of turnaround started, is when I got here in 1987 down in Texas.
So when you left home, were you 15 then, or were you much older?
I was just out of school. I was out of school a couple of years and just didn't have an idea of where I wanted to go, just getting into trouble all the time and not hanging around the right people. Bad attitude, ego, just, a shitstorm, to say the least. And I had two choices. I could either stay there and end up either dead or in jail, or pack up and change my environment, which is a lot of times what is necessary for someone to realize where they're at and what direction they need to go. And that's when I left.
Yeah, I mean, and that's something, isn't it? That even though you were at in a small town, still drugs and everything finds its way, doesn't it? Even in small places. It's amazing.
Yep. It's like water. It goes into all the cracks. The drugs, the drinking, the bad drugs. I mean, even small towns, big cities, it's everywhere. It's like grass,
right.
Grass grows everywhere. Weeds grow everywhere. The drugs and the alcohol they're everywhere as well, So.
Yeah. And I guess if you're like bored or don't have, too much going on, that probably is more intriguing to try something, like you said. I mean, if you saw that many people in one day than you did in your own town, right? There's a lot of leisure time. I'm sure you were working the farm and stuff, but I'm just saying there's not like maybe too many sports or maybe things like that going on. I'm not sure.
No, there wasn't too much going on. I mean, you could drive 35, 45, 50 minutes to get up into the bigger cities,
Mm-hmm.
where the nightlife was and the happening stuff was. But, I mean, being
Yeah.
young and, it's like you just didn't want to go that far. So we were just kind of we were out in the sticks, basically.
Right. Right. So getting to Texas, right? I mean, 250 bucks in your pocket, packing up and going. Did your parents think you were crazy?
Oh, yes. Yes.
I'm
A
sure.
lot of people thought I had lost my mind.
Right.
But it was a decision that I knew that was best for me. It was actually best for everybody because they were
Mhm.
concerned, coming home. They didn't know if I was coming home that night or not,
Right.
or they
Right.
didn't get that call because, it got to the point, nothing that they did wrong. I was bullheaded. I was strong headed, but I
Right.
was being bullheaded and strong headed in the wrong
In the
direction,
wrong way. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know? I
Totally
mean,
get
one of
that.
my brothers is a doctor. The other one was an over the road driver for a company that, spent a lot of time with them. One of my other brothers went to college for a while, but decided that wasn't for him. And he's in business for himself as well. And I was just the hellion. I was the one that was just like the loose cannon rolling around in the ship, getting ready to crash through the wall. And that
Yeah,
was
there's
my
always
choice. I
one.
had to leave. Excuse me?
There's always one, Brian.
There is. And I was
There's
that one over and above. I got into more trouble than all my other brothers put together.
Oh my gosh.
So,
So when you ended up in Texas though, how did you start to turn that around? Like were you still you because drug use is not an easy thing to get out of, right? I mean, it takes a lot of grit and determination, and every day like waking up and making that decision, right? So how did you do that when were you already still using drugs when you got to Houston, or did you decide at that point you were going to stop?
a little bit, but I mean, I
Okay.
couldn't afford them. I was broke. I
Right,
mean, I didn't have
right.
enough money to pay attention, let alone buy drugs. So I got a job
Right.
and started working and punching the clock. And my brother was nice enough to let me stay with him for a while until I got up on my feet.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
started my first company shortly after I got here in 1987. That company still exists today. That's the big one that you were referencing to that we ship coast to coast.
Mhm.
And but I started that company and got it going, and then I delivered a bunch of product that I didn't get paid for, and then I became homeless. I had to
Wow.
either keep the business or keep the house, and I knew the house wasn't going to generate any money. It was more of a liability than it was an asset. So I gave up my nice condo, nice place to live, and I sold everything to pay off my debts and my bills. And I moved into the corner of a warehouse, a concrete warehouse with
Wow.
basically no no hot water, no heat. And that's where I lived for many, many years. I used to heat up my
Wow.
bed with a hair dryer that I got at the dollar store, because there was no heat. And I mean, it gets cold down here. It is Texas, but
Yeah.
it does
Yeah.
get cold. And my trusty dog, Abby, she kept me warm as well. So between all of that, it was, you would think that that would be some of the darkest times that someone could
Mhm.
ever have. And
Mhm.
there was some gloom in there, but I'll tell you, it was the most enlightening time for me as well, because I got more focused. And
Mhm.
I think that's where a lot of people misunderstand becoming successful is you have to marry the heart and the mind. There has to be an emotional connection. What is the end involved?
Right.
What is the end? And that's what you have to stay focused on. And for me, it was to fish professionally across the United States after watching my idols on ESPN when I was very, very young, watching these guys fish professionally all over the United States. And I said, that is what I want to do. And staying focused on that goal is what made me really hunker down and keep going. And that wasn't the only train wreck. I did a trade show trying to come out of that. And the trade show was over, and I went to go get carts to take my products. Someone had cleaned my products out. They stole almost every piece of concrete out of my booth. So there was
Wow.
thousands and thousands of dollars of more inventory that I had lost. So it wasn't just one butt kicking; it was a whole string of them.
Yeah. 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 It
So
sounded like that. And that that happens a lot, doesn't it? Like when you're down, it just feels like it compiles, right? Like then
oh
something
yeah,
else happens, then something else happens. And it is, something that will show you if you have grit or not. because, you know, that's the moment where like, it's a pivotal moment for a lot of people, right? Whether they give in or whether they rise up the next day, because it is super freaking tough. I was homeless as well. So I just remember how hard that is and how much everything just kept beating us up and beating us up and beating us up. And then you just have to keep telling yourself, tomorrow the sun is rising. This is not forever. I got this, you know, even though it's hard as heck. It's hard.
Every day you have the option of starting with a new canvas.
Right.
Right. You may have screwed the one up for today. Okay, today is done. Eckhart Tolle wrote a book called The Power of Now, which you must realize that is the only thing that you have in your control.
That's correct.
You can't do something yesterday. I can't do something tomorrow. I can't do something 20 minutes from now. The only thing that you ever have in your control is now.
That's right.
And things that happen, as they say, the things that don't kill us make us stronger, which is true. You know, but there has to be that emotional connection to get you through all of the shit storms, because you're not going to have an umbrella big enough for them. I can tell you that right now.
That's right.
But dealing with them, it's not really a failure. You have better information now to make better decisions.
That's right.
That's going to catapult you farther down the road. You know, something that happens is neither negative or positive.
That's right.
It's the perspective in which we look at it. Something bad happens. It's like, okay, what can I learn from this? What is the world trying to teach me here? What's the message that the good Lord is sending me here? What do I need to focus on? Because there's always a message, because excuses are so much easier to find than solutions.
That's the truth.
And that is where people really, that's what separates the successful from the unsuccessful. They run back and they get back in that comfort zone, or they find an excuse. Well, you know, my job's just not that bad. I hate this place. I can't stand my boss. I can't stand the people I work with, but you know, it's not that bad. I get paid every 14 days and you know, I can deal with that.
Right.
They live a life that was chosen for them.
That's right.
At an early age, through lies, manipulation, armchair experts, whatever you want to call it. And at that point in our life, we don't have a BS filter. We can't tell what is right and what is wrong.
Right.
So we kind of take it all in, and we can't really decipher what we should listen to and what we shouldn't listen to.
Right.
But as we get older, the BS detector needs to be modified. And we need to start paying closer attention. Are the people that are giving you advice and trying to quote unquote help you, are they in for your best interest, or are they actually trying to keep you suppressed? Because if you make it, they're left behind.
Right. Right.
Have to be very, very careful. Your mind, the piece of real estate that sits between your ears, is the most valuable piece of real estate you will ever own in your life. You need to guard it like your bank account and your family.
Right.
Because it can be destroyed in the blink of an eye simply by collecting inaccurate or negative data from the wrong people. That's why you have to protect it of what's going in.
So when you had lost everything and you were living in the warehouse, right?
Yep.
Was this already your way of thinking, or was this something that you have developed as you went through this enlightening period? You know, this, I guess you could call it a dark place, but
it was developing the whole time.
Right.
I had already gotten into personal development.
Okay.
Then I was doing a lot of reading and lectures, but I was borrowing books because I couldn't afford to buy them, or listening to borrowed CDs. So the track had started. You know, I realized and knew that there was something better. But when you become homeless and there's really not much you can do, the only thing you could do is keep learning.
Right.
You know,
I love that though.
advice.
I love that. Yeah. But I love what you're saying, because I want people to hear this. I want you all to hear this. He didn't have any money, but yet he found a way to find the resources. And that's something that I think we all need to hear, right, Brian? Because a lot of times the excuse that I get is I don't have it, or I can't, right? truth be told, right now, me and you are almost the same age. So when we were growing up as well, it's not like we have everything to our fingertips the way we do now. So even now, I don't want to hear that. Like, don't tell me you don't know. Like, there's Google for everything.
Yep.
There's
Google and YouTube.
libraries.
Yep.
Google, YouTube, libraries. I used to tell people all the time that, oh, I can't afford to get that, but go to your local library. Go to Google. I bet you there's a PDF somewhere,
You can get Kindle books for almost nothing.
Right. Exactly.
90 cents, $1.50, $2,
Right.
$3. I mean, my Kindle's only $6 or $7 or $8 or something like that. You don't have to have a hard copy.
Right. And I want to talk to you about that as well, because you've been through quite a bit. So take me a little bit on the journey of your way out of the warehouse. What was that? How did that happen?
Well, when bad things happen, we have to assess them. And then we have to look at it and kind of come up with internal policies to say, okay, how do I stop this from occurring again? What are some telltale signs that I got to look for? So we develop internal policies or BS detector to give us a heads up of another curve that's coming. And what I was doing is any business and life is always a journey. There's no manuals. There is no manuals for this life. It's like having a child. They don't come out with a manual.
I wish.
It's a learning curve the entire time. So, I got my money. I started making it back. I got a little bit bigger clients, and I started getting deposits on product instead of waiting for 30 days.
Good for you.
I would get a little bit of money up front. So if they did balk or walk, I didn't lose it all. I would at least cover some of my losses. So it was a learning curve for me.
Isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. Failure. I always say this, and I mean it, like, failure is nothing but feedback. Failure is nothing but feedback. I mean, there's so many times in my life I have failed, but I won't fail at that again. Right. Because you learn. And that's pretty powerful, Brian, because there was something you said earlier too, that just like, wow. Because you said, I could either keep my home or keep my business, but the home is not going to bring me what I need. Right. So that is like powerful, right? Because you're making a decision. You are literally saying to yourself, I trust myself enough to know that I'm going to make this business happen. I'm going to make this business happen. Right. Because most people will choose the comfort. We will choose the home. We will choose something that we can live in. We'll choose, and you're like, nope. I'm going to do what I have to do, but I'm going to make this happen. And look where you are now.
I knew it was temporary.
Right.
People must understand your current condition is not what it's going to be the rest of your life. It will be if you allow it. It'll be that way if you go into agreement and say, yeah, I'm a loser. I've been broke. My parents are broke. I'm never going to get out of this stinking job and I'm never going to have anything. Guess what? You are correct.
Yes.
They will have to probably send around a basket to round up enough money to bury you.
Right.
Because you've gone into agreement with it.
Oh my God, that is so true. Oh my God, this is why I adore you. Every time I see your name pop up on Clubhouse, I'm like, what room is he in? I have to hear because you just drop these gems. It's so freaking true, right? You are correct. You are correct. And, and I've always had this like inner grit in me. Like I never wanted to become a victim of my circumstances, even though my circumstances were really hard. And I'm like, yeah, they're hard, but I'm a badass. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to get myself out of this. And personal development was what actually helped me to start to pull out of that. Do you feel that grit was always in you? Do you think grit is something that we have, or something that develops, or something that can be taught? What do you think about that?
I think grit is developed when you find your passion, when you find your reason. And that's why I said goals have to be an emotional thing. Humans make decisions on emotions. They buy the purse that they want, the car that they want, the house that they want, the dress that they want, the suit that they want. It's like, oh yeah, man, I am going to look good in this.
Right.
There is an emotional connection to it. But what they don't understand is you got to put the same damn emotion into your goals.
Right.
Because when you do that, if you do fall on your face, which you will, it gives you the energy and the strength to say, you know what? I learned something from this. I brush myself off. I have better, more accurate information to do what? To make better decisions, to progress.
Mm-hmm.
And here's a little thing for you. If you want to double your income, you double your failure rate.
Right. That's good.
You're going to fail forward.
That's good.
So you're going to fail. So if you fail faster, and I'm not talking about stupid failure, I'm talking about calculated, predictable, what we call proper failure.
Right.
I'm going to do this, and this is my expected result. Okay, I fell short. So let's back up. So you can plan, do. I've heard this multiple ways. I've heard PDCA, plan, do, check, adjust. Plan, do, review. You're going to plan something. You're going to do the doing this. So, and if you don't get the outcome that you're looking for, then you're going to review it, not throw in the towel. Because see, now you have better information to say, okay, I thought I could get 6 sales off of 10 phone calls. I got 1 maybe off of 10. So if you look at those numbers, it's like, okay, if I want 6, I'm probably going to have to do about 60 to 70 calls
right.
to get 6. But that's accurate data.
Right.
It's a statistic that you can read because you see where you were, you did your due diligence, you did your work, and now you see the end result.
Right.
Well, now you have numbers and statistics to help you make better decisions and move forward.
Right.
You know?
Oh, that's so good.
If you keep struggling, hang around people that have what it is that you want. I see this all the time. I see people that, oh yeah, I want to make $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 a year, but they hang around people making 30.
Right.
You really think someone who makes $30,000 can mentor you to $500,000 a year?
Right.
Ain't gonna happen. Now they're great people.
This is a big problem right now, right? Because everybody's online thinking that they're gurus and they're, telling you that they're guru of this, guru of that. And they're no, they're not. And that's why you have to like really follow people deeply before you start signing up for programs that you're going to get disappointed on. And that's happened quite a bit, right? Like people are like, oh, I had this other, coach or this other person, and they said they were going to do this. And now I have to fix the problem that this other person now created. Right. So, do your homework, just do your homework, but
everybody's a life coach. Yeah, everybody's a life coach nowadays. It's like, I see this crap on Instagram and all these other different places. Oh, I'm a personality coach, or I'm a life coach. The guy's life or woman's life is in the toilet.
Right.
They have nothing to offer you, but they're a quote unquote coach.
Right.
Now, to give you my background, I have multiple companies. I have at least 6, and I'm putting number 7 together right now. I have not punched a clock or had a job in 30 years.
That's awesome.
So I by no means know it all, but I'll bet I have a little bit better accurate data than a lot of these youngsters that are on Instagram and all these other places saying, all you need is a cell phone. I made $1 bajillion last month, and all I have is a cell phone.
All right.
It doesn't work that way.
It doesn't. And that's where the disappointment comes in, right? Because people believe that, and then they try to do it, and it doesn't happen. And listen, everything takes work. It's not like you just get up and you like I heard someone say, just think about it and manifest, and here it comes. No, that's not how it works. You can think about it. You can definitely try to manifest it in your life and look for it, but you got to do the work. It is not going to come to you like off the sky. Like, here you go, $1 million. I wish I've been trying to manifest that for a long time, and I don't see millions of dollars dropping yet. Right? You gotta do the work. You got to put in your work. Right?
And that's why The Secret was such a disaster.
Right.
Millions and millions and millions of people watch The Secret, but there's not millions and millions and millions of millionaires.
Right.
The magical part of how the law of attraction, or what I call the law of creation, works is the emotional connection.
Right.
Because without it, you will never get to the summit. When you have that emotional connection, that's where that drive comes in. That's where that grit comes in. That's where no shit is going to stop me comes in.
Right.
Now, the right people at the right time, the right lecture, the right seminar, the right course will come to you at the exact moment it needs to come to you.
Yeah, I agree.
Not a minute before and not a minute after.
I agree with that. Yep.
Because as you develop and you focus on where it is want to go, we operate on frequencies. I know a lot of people don't believe that, but I believe in it because I've seen it. And that's where that creation and attraction kind of thing comes together. We can actually draw people into our universe. We can draw people into our surroundings because we are putting out that frequency, and people can hear, feel, and understand those. And that's where the right people will come in at the right time. Now, if you're putting out a bunch of negative stuff, they also get that, and they will run from you. And I know that we live in a microwave society, and that's the pathetic part about social media. Everybody's looking for this get rich quick scheme, this quick fix. And then they envy this guy that's standing beside a car, $300,000 car. How do you know that car belongs to him?
Right. I was just going to say, where did he rent it from?
He wasn't sitting in a parking lot and him and his homies came by and they took some pictures like, this is my ride. Let me tell you something. Success only comes when you marry the mind and the heart together and you find a common ground. Your bank account will only grow in proportion to the way your mind grows. Think about this. How many people have you heard of that won a lottery, lots of money, and was broke in 24 to 36 months?
Yep.
Because the mind has to keep up with the bankroll, with the bank account. Because if not, you're going to flush it all right down the toilet a whole lot faster than you got it. And you see that
true.
overnight
success. All the time.
Yeah. Overnight success, somebody comes up with an app or they come up with this. The next thing you know, they got just money running out their ears and then they lose it all. Why?
Sadly. Yep.
It's because the mind can't keep up with the income.
Right.
That's why the two have to be married together. Success is not easy. And besides, I don't care how much money you make. It's not about how much money you make. It's about how much of it you keep in your pocket. Right.
And it goes to the point you said earlier about expanding your mind, expanding your knowledge so that you can retain what it is you're getting, I want to talk a little bit about before I let you go, because you've dropped so much wisdom here. And I know you have a book, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about that, please. Tell us about your book. What's it about?
The book is called Who Are You and Why? The Evolution of You. And my webpage is Brian, Brian, Penso, P as in Paul, ENSO.com. So brianpenso.com. And the way that the book evolved is through reading a lot of personal development. I've spent a lot of time on stage. I've done a lot of training, a lot of public speaking, and people kept asking me for a book. And I said, look, I don't know how to write a book. Don't know anything about it because I graduated high school with C's and D's, maybe a B if I was lucky. And so I'm not educated in school. So it was something that was like a major hurdle for me. But when someone keeps asking over and over, not the same people, but lots of people saying, I want what you are offering. Right. Because it's no sugar either. Right. My lectures, people were warned before they came in here. You may not like me.
I love it.
I told them, don't even spend the money on the ticket. Because if you're coming here to feel all warm and fuzzy, this is not
that's good.
You want to be in.
I'm going to steal that.
It was funny because what we say is we will have alcohol, a nurse, and a Band-Aid at the door so you can repair that 2x4, pull them splinters out, and we're going to put the clean eyeball. And that's how the book evolved.
That's awesome.
But there's no bullshit in it. It is 142 pages of the exact system, basically how I got out of the hole.
That's awesome.
I was homeless, almost $100,000 plus in credit card debt. That's the other part I left out. But through learning and changing this bad boy right here, I was able to conquer all of that and dig myself out of the hole. And the reason that it's 142 pages is it's short and sweet and to the point. There's not a bunch of fluff in it. I'm not here to make you feel all warm and fuzzy. I'm here to tell you what you need to hear, not what it is that you want to hear. And right now, people can go to my webpage. They can download the first chapter. If you get through the first chapter, you're doing good. So if it relates to you, buy the book.
I like
If
it.
it doesn't relate to you, don't buy the book. I don't want you spending the money on a book that you're not going to get value on it. I don't need the money that bad. Trust me.
Yeah.
I didn't write the book to make money. I wrote the book to make a difference.
Right. That's so good, Brian. That's so good. There's so much there. So the book is on your website. Now, can people also see all of your social media handles on there as well? Or is there a place that you like people to follow you more?
They can, I'm on Instagram, and I'm in Clubhouse a lot.
Yeah.
So they can actually search me in Clubhouse if they want to hook up, and we can link up that way.
Do you have a club yourself or not yet?
Not yet. I'm a little technology challenged, being a country boy. I speak in a lot of rooms, and I'm actually getting up where I'm getting ready to build my own club.
Good.
I mean, I couldn't believe it when I was on there. I mean, I had over 350 followers in 28 days.
Right.
Or no, 250 followers in 28 days.
It's a great way to grow.
What's that?
It's a great way to grow, like people to know you.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I've met some just unbelievable people.
Me too.
I'm meeting authors. I'm meeting publishers. I'm meeting TV producers, podcasters, authors. So there's a wealth of information in there.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to pick your genre. I mean, a friend of mine's into farming and cattle. There's cattle and farming pages on there.
That's good. Yeah. I didn't know that.
I've got a sick cow. This is what's going on. What do you recommend? It's a mecca of information.
Yeah,
but
it really
like
is.
All social medias, there's bad in it too.
Mm-hmm.
You got to watch the rooms you go in, because there's some of them I go in and I say, whoa, we ain't supposed to be here.
Yeah, me too. I've done that. I'm like, and hide the room.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, they can email me or they can connect with me through the brianpenso.com.
Okay.
And you can find me on, like I said, Instagram or Clubhouse. I'm not on Facebook. I left there a long time ago. I don't want anything to do with it. And but that's it. That's great. I mean, they can actually research me on YouTube. I mean, some of my lectures and a lot of my podcasts are on there. Some of my trainings are on there from a couple of years ago. So if they just search me on YouTube, they'll find plenty.
All right. Brian, this was such a great conversation. Thank you for spending this time with me. I'm going to rewatch it because you dropped so many nuggets on there. I'm like, okay, I can't write while I'm doing a podcast, but this is awesome. And, you're really full of knowledge. I love your approach because you're just straight up. And I jive with that. That's just how I am too, and I like people who are like that and unapologetic about it. And so thank you for that. Thank you for being authentic and real. I'm going to go on your website as well to download that first chapter and read it so I can get the book. But I appreciate you. I really do. And I appreciate all of the wisdom that you drop in Clubhouse. I'll keep following you because it is so fun to hear you speak. I mean, some of the stuff you come up with, I'm like, I never heard that before, but I like it.
Yep. Well, I'll tell you, one of the things that I've noticed in my life is I was one of those people that always went to get. But it didn't serve me very well. I got all right. I got my butt handed to me. I got in a lot of trouble. Mm-hmm. But if you're in that position that you're always going to get, back up. Yeah. Go to give. Yeah. Don't go to get something. Go to give. How can you lift someone else up? What can you help them with? Because inevitably, when you go to give, you will receive from some other place that you have no earthly idea where it came from or how it found you. That's right. But I find the more that I give and the more I elevate people and the more value I bring them, the more value comes to me, and I'm not out looking for it. Right. You put out good, it comes good back. You put out bad things going to come back. Yeah. Good works the same way.
It's so true. And that's whether you believe in it or not, it's going to happen, right? Whether you believe in it or not.
Hey, you can believe it or you can not believe it, and you're right both ways. Yeah. But look at your own life.
I love it.
Your best thinking got you in the position that you're in right now.
Right.
Now, if you're loaded and you're happy, then I wouldn't change anything. But if your life is in the toilet and it's not happy and you're miserable getting up every single morning, It's time to evaluate who your information is coming from, and it's time to change your thinking.
That's so
I tell you,
good.
I had an absolute blast. I love it. I'm so happy.
So did I.
We
Me
will
too.
have to
I'm
do
so
this again
glad.
sometime.
Yes,
Most
this
definitely.
this is awesome. This is so great. And guys, you heard it here. Make sure that you go ahead and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to leave a review and make sure that you share. Also, make sure that you follow Brian Penso because you are going to love the way he talks, what he says. I'm sure his book is just as straightforward and as witty as this conversation. Thank you guys so much for being here. This is Neena Perez. This is Straight Talk, no sugar added. Until next time. Make sure that you visit our website at Straight Talk No Sugar Added, where you can subscribe to our show on iTunes and Stitcher or anywhere you listen to your podcast or on YouTube, so you'll never miss a show. And while you're at it, if you found value in this show, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes, or if you simply tell a friend about our show, that would be awesome too. If you like this show, you might want to check out our book as well. It's Hit Me With Your Best Shot, How I Overcame a Hard-Hitting Life. I am Neena Perez, and I am here for you. If you are looking for private coaching, make sure that you email me at hello@straighttalknosugaradded.com. Until next time.